It's Monday, the 8th of June. Some very important events today. I appeared before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco, California, by Zoom, obviously not in person given the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. And we will argue to have a case reinstated against Antifa, against the regents of the University of California at Berkeley, against the city of Berkeley, because back on February 1st, of 2017, a young lady who I represent, a young gay woman, fine person, Kiara Robles, was attacked at a speech that was supposed to be given by Milo Yiannopoulos, who then was at Breitbart News, a conservative, controversial, investigative reporter. And of course, the city of Berkeley and the California University at Berkeley stood around and watched her get beaten up by Antifa. It was actually filmed on video. That's how we knew of her. She came to me to represent her. The case was assigned to a judge, Claudia Wilkins, who had attended law school at the University of California at Berkeley, known as Boalt Hall, and also had taught at Berkeley Law School for 8 years. I knew that was going to be a problem. Top that off with the fact that she was appointed by President Bill Clinton. So the case proceeded for some time, almost a year. And a year into the case, and I, of course, entered into that case pro hac vice. That means I came in for that particular case because I'm not a member of the California bar. I'm a member of other bars. The judge, seeing that I was persistent, that I wasn't going to give up, revoked my pro hac vice application 1 year into the event. I mean, it's ridiculous. It was not just ridiculous, it was hateful. And it's clear that these leftists in California in particular want to protect their turf, whether it's Berkeley or any other subject, and they'll do it even by protecting Antifa. So the case is now up on appeal. If you go to the Ninth Circuit's website, you can actually see it in real time if you're listening to this podcast quickly enough, because at 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday, today, June 8th, 2020, we will hear the oral argument in that case, and I'm in front of a 3-judge panel. Now, obviously, Antifa is in the news these days. It's been designated by the president correctly as a domestic terrorist group, and they must be held to account. Also, the University of California at Berkeley and also the Berkeley city must be held to account for allowing for this young woman and others to be attacked. $100,000 of damage occurred. You might remember the fires that were on Berkeley's campus at the time. Let's shift to another subject because it's important. You see, who is it that is taking the action against Antifa? And I've been doing that now since 2017. But yet, during that time period, not one lawsuit, not one criminal indictment, nothing, nada, by our so-called Justice Department that was run by not just Jeff Sessions, but now that overstuffed blowhard, William Barr, who does nothing. And over the weekend, with regard to the protesters that were cleared out of Lafayette Park in front of the White House, who happened to have burned down, in part, a Episcopalian church, St. John's, across that quad, the Attorney General does a mea culpa, saying, well, I never ordered that. Well, you know what? He should order that to clear out that place, because you know what? It was dangerous. And also they had destroyed a church and federal property. Why are people so afraid? You know, there was a podcast by Candace Owens, extremely bright African-American conservative, over the weekend that the president retweeted. And she's courageous. She stood up for the fact that this guy, Floyd George, or whatever his name is, I never remember his name in no due respect. He's got 2 first names, so it gets confusing. But the guy is a 5-time convicted felon, once for armed robbery, aiding and abetting armed robbery, and yet he's deified by radical elements of the African-American community. Now, you know, African-Americans, the conservative ones and the libertarian ones and the people of faith, they're braver than white people. White people just run for the exits. Call them a racist and they're nowhere to be found. And that's exactly what's happening with regard to our Justice Department and everybody else. It doesn't even represent the president. But this is my shift to this next subject, because we have no Justice Department, we have no Attorney General, They're afraid of their shadow. They're like Puxatani Phil. They go back in their hole if they see their shadow. And not just on February 2nd, but every day of the year. But it's Freedom Watch that brought the coronavirus class action in Dallas, Texas, and Jerusalem, Israel. It's Freedom Watch that filed a criminal complaint against the communist Chinese leadership in The Hague, Holland, to have them thrown in prison. It's not our government. It's not our Justice Department. It's Freedom Watch. And that's why I ask you to join our cause. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. We're always at the forefront. We just don't ask for documents, as my former group, which I founded, Judicial Watch, mostly does. We try to bring about change through real hard-hitting cases. And I thank Radio America for letting me get the word out and telling the truth. So join that class action. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. You can find this podcast on Spotify, on iTunes, on Roku, on Amazon Fire, on Facebook, on Twitter. Share it far and wide. And as we're doing this podcast, Radio America and I was watching right before Peter Navarro, the trade advisor of President Trump. He was asked a direct question on Fox News. I only watch it in the morning for a few minutes and I shut it off because I can't deal with it anymore. You know, it doesn't tell the truth to the American people. But here they revealed it because they asked Navarro, what is the United States, what's the Trump administration going to do about all this damage that China has caused? And he had no response. He just kept talking about how terrible the communist Chinese are. Well, that's the problem today. You know, a lot of talk, a lot of hot air, frankly, a lot of BS, but no action. So join freedomwatchusa.org. Sign up to see if you qualify for our class action. Let's hold the communist Chinese accountable for all the damage they have caused, health-wise, to our economy, and otherwise. And this is going to continue for a long time. So join our Justice League and share this podcast at freedomwatchusa.org, at Spotify, at iTunes, at Roku, at Amazon Fire, at Facebook, at Twitter. Get it out far and wide. Just don't sit there on the couch watching Hannity and Fox News. Get up. Put the beer and wine down. Get to work. Save this country. It's hanging by a thread. And frankly, the people who are in charge are afraid of their shadow. They are a group of individuals, worthless individuals like the Attorney General, who should be renamed Puxatani Phil. God bless you. God bless your family. God save America. And I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast, a special prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Thank you for listening to me.
Message and data rates may apply. More than a piece of paper or entry on your resume, a college degree is a daily reminder of what you can accomplish and a step toward creating new opportunities. If you're looking to obtain your bachelor's degree or advance in your profession with a master's degree, and you're in search of a highly respected university that works with your schedule, consider Arizona State University. ASU offers over 200 programs online, from education to healthcare to engineering and more. Students who study online receive the same high-quality education taught by ASU's world-renowned faculty and experience the same dedicated support as on-campus students. Plus, you'll earn the same degree, joining a global network of over 500,000 alumni. Discover why over 90% of ASU graduates were employed or received a job offer 90 days after graduation. Text ANSWER to 35517. Whatever your life's pursuit is, at Arizona State University, we empower you to thrive. Explore ASU online. Text ANSWER to 35517. That's ANSWER to 35517.